Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into a really fascinating stack of sources. The top 10 global headlines from just the past 12 hours, August 11th, 2025. Our mission, well, it's to go beyond just the surface, beyond those quick news bites. We want to uncover the important nuggets of knowledge, the insights, really help you get well informed quickly about the big forces shaping our world right now. And you'll see, it's quite a mix. Geopolitics, economic anxieties, a peek into our digital future, even a rare celestial event. Sometimes a quick scan misses the really interesting connections between these things. That's what we're here to explore. So let's unpack this. Let's start with something immediate, something impactful. A magnitude 6.1 earthquake just struck near Sindirgi in western Turkey. It was felt up to 200 kilometers away, including in Istanbul, prompting immediate building safety checks. Beyond the obvious human impact, how does an event like this, even kind of localized, send ripples, through the global system?
Well, what's fascinating here isn't just the direct impact, though that's obviously critical. It's how quickly global events like this one can connect to broader market movements almost instantly. We saw commodity markets ease right after. Brent crude fell to $66.13 a barrel. And gold slid too, down to $3,369 an ounce. But interestingly, equity futures actually ticked a bit higher.
Higher. Why was that?
Well, the thinking seems to be it was tied to goodwill surrounding possible peace talks between Trump and Putin. It's this rapid reaction that's striking. It really highlights how prevalent things like algorithmic trading are now. News sentiment, even from seemingly unrelated events like an earthquake, can trigger automated trades.
Oh, wow. Amplifying volatility across different assets then.
Exactly. It's a pretty stark example of how interconnected everything truly is.
That really is. And speaking of global connections, significant diplomatic moves are also happening. Australia has officially announced plans to recognize a Palestinian state at the upcoming UN General Assembly. Prime Minister Albanese and New Zealand's PM, too, they're continuing to push for a Gaza ceasefire. In fact, SBS reported Australia might formally recognize Palestine as early as today. This isn't just symbolic, is it? What are the broader implications here?
Oh, you're right. It's far more than symbolic. A move like Australia's recognizing Palestine. It has potentially widespread implications for international relations, for global stability. It could shift some long-held diplomatic stances, maybe set precedents, big picture stuff.
Absolutely. And this kind of discussion, global power dynamics, it's front and center at events like the upcoming ET World Leaders Forum. That's happening August 22nd and 23rd in India. And their focus is squarely on geopolitics, tech, and what they're calling the India opportunity, all against this volatile economic backdrop.
Right, so these high-level discussions are directly relevant to what's happening now. Very much so. It shows how individual diplomatic decisions feed into those broader global conversations.
Okay. Yet amidst all this diplomacy and geopolitics, there's this real current of economic anxiety, isn't there? Investors seem pretty on edge ahead of Monday's U.S. Consumer Price Index release. But here's where it gets really interesting. Against that backdrop, Bitcoin surged to a record high, showing, I guess, growing crypto confidence. How do we square that, this counter trend, a volatile asset gaining ground when traditional markets are nervous? Is it being seen as a real hedge?
That's an excellent question. And it really gets into the complex psychology of, well, modern markets. On one hand, yes, some investors clearly are viewing Bitcoin as a hedge against potential inflation, a kind of digital gold, especially if they perceive traditional currencies might be losing purchasing power.
Okay.
But it also reflects, I think, a deeper shift. Maybe a search for alternative stores of value when the usual instruments feel unstable. It's almost like a vote of no confidence in the existing financial system from some corners of the market.
Interesting perspective.
And while the U.S. is bracing for that inflation data, you've got Asian markets also reacting. They've been gaining ground, mostly driven by strong tech earnings, Nikkei futures near record highs, all while everyone's waiting for the U.S. numbers, trying to read the tea leaves about a possible Fed rate cut. There are mixed signals everywhere.
So a really delicate, interdependent balance right now.
Extremely delicate, yes.
That paints a picture of real financial tension. Now, for something truly unusual from the headlines, and it really highlights, I think, the depth of this underlying anxiety we're talking about, amidst all the trade friction and slumping investor confidence, speculation is apparently growing around a gloomy economic prophecy for 2025-26. And it's attributed to mystical predictions by Kava Vanga. What does it even say about the current mood that this kind of story makes headlines?
Look, this raises a really important question. Not about whether the prophecy is valid, of course, but why it's gaining traction right now. It demonstrates how certain cognitive biases, like confirmation bias or just searching for patterns when things feel uncertain. How these can lead people to latch onto even, well, outlandish narratives sometimes.
Right. Seeking comfort or answers anywhere.
Perhaps the fact that a story about Baba Vanga, a mystic who died years ago, appears in global headlines now. It's not about endorsing the prediction itself, it's more like a symptom, a powerful indicator of just how pervasive the economic anxieties and trade frictions really are. It shows how deeply uncertainty, even from unexpected sources, can affect public sentiment and maybe even subtly influence economic confidence.
That's a fascinating way to look at it. How collective anxiety finds outlets. Okay, let's shift gears now to a future-facing challenge, one that could have major global implications, and it's a bit more tangible than prophecies. The 2038 digital time bug. Experts are warning about this. Apparently, outdated 32-bit systems still tracking time in lots of programming languages, they might overflow in 2038. So what exactly does this mean for our tech? How significant is this threat, really?
Well, think of it like this. Imagine an old digital odometer in a car that only goes up to 99,999 miles. When it hits that, it can't show 100,000, right? It might just roll over to 0,000 or get stuck.
Okay, I see.
For these 32-bit systems, their internal clock, the way they count seconds since a specific point in 1970, it essentially runs at a positive number space on January 19th, 2038. This specific technical challenge, it's conceptually a bit like past worries, like Y2K, but the mechanics are different. It could cause these systems to misinterpret dates, or maybe just fail entirely.
Fail entirely, like what kind of system?
Potentially major digital infrastructure, things from air traffic control databases maybe to critical financial systems, embedded systems in industry. Lots of possibilities. It really underscores how critical our digital infrastructure is and the need for long-term planning to fix or replace these systems before 2038.
Definitely something to keep an eye on then for the future. And to conclude our deep dive into these headlines today, let's look up away from the earthbound issues for a moment. Towards the sky, there's a rare and the headline called it a nostalgic planetary show coming up for skywatchers later this month. We're talking about an alignment of 6 planets: Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Best views apparently expected around August 23rd. It's kind of a beautiful counterpoint to all the news we've been discussing, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think amidst all the complexity, global politics, economic jitters, these looming digital challenges, a celestial event like this, it offers a bit of much-needed perspective. It's just a reminder of the vastness out there, beyond our daily headlines and the sort of cyclical nature of things. It's a beautiful, enduring constant in a world that feels like it's always changing.
Yeah, a moment to just look up.
Exactly. Appreciate something grand and predictable for a change.
What a journey we've just taken then. From those immediate tremors in Turkey, shifts in global diplomacy, through market anxieties, even an ancient prophecy, right up to a looming digital challenge, and then this breathtaking planetary alignment. This deep dive, it really has offered, I think, a shortcut to understanding the varied, surprising, and often interconnected currents shaping the world today, August 11th, 2025.
And it really underscores the value, doesn't it, of looking beyond just the surface of the headlines. It's not just about knowing what happened. It's trying to understand the why it matters. And appreciating how these sort of diverse pieces of information can actually connect, forming a richer, more complete picture of our world.
So as you reflect on these headlines from August 11th, 2025, what single detail or emerging trend do you think holds the most significance for the future? And how might these diverse stories influence your own perspective in the days and weeks to come?